Wow. And we are here, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals and non-binary pals. We're here, and I am very excited for today's session of Salamander Coast, session number 37, Dreams. But first and foremost, welcome. My name is Joe. Welcome to Roll with Advantage. Welcome back. If you happen to have been here during the charity stream, we're happy to have you back. And a short disclaimer before we get into today's session and before we get into the summary, before we roll the intro, all that good stuff. Obviously, I'd just like to extend a huge thank you to everybody who turned out during the charity stream, whether you played in the one-shot, whether you found the listing on Roll20 and you applied and then still came out and showed your support and just watched and shared it and all that good stuff. We were able to raise a mind-shattering amount of money, especially for such a small channel like us. And we are so thankful to all the people who came out and donated and shared and watched and supported us all the way throughout the 20 hours of madness, especially those of you that were brave enough to be there for the last 2 hours of the absolutely abhorrent improvised one-shot. So thank you to those of you that donated, watched, and tuned in, because with you, we were able to raise a lot of money for a wonderful cause. I mean, it's monies for children's hospitals. You can't get a better place for money to go than that. Okay, that's thing number one. Thing number two, this is especially relevant for today's game. Now, Joe, me, the sort of resident DM for the 3 Roll with Advantage campaigns, when I run one-shots, I tend to lean into the more lackadaisical, whimsical side of my personality. As is prevalent in the Feywild one-shot where they all get turned into small forest critters. Joe as a DM definitely doesn't do that as much. Joe as a DM in long-term campaigns is a little bit more serious with some strings of lightheartedness and laughter. But overall, a more serious tone with sort of like spots of whimsy. So I just wanted to give you a brief disclaimer, especially for this first part that's coming up. Okay, so that is all I wanted to say. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I think that we should roll the intro and then get started. And that's what we're coming back to. I hope you guys enjoyed the bwomp. Okay, so with that, as we get into today's session, let me go ahead and play the Salamander Coast opening theme. Cameron, are you ready to give us our summary?
Yes, I am. So last we left off, our intrepid group of adventurers.
Boo.
You won't do it, so I had to. Had begun sailing after a brief encounter, a narrowly escaped encounter with one of the Dark One's 13 thralls named Wicker. So after sailing for a while, there were a couple of conversations that were had. Desmond, Kyo, and Ashima talked about what destinies await a dragonborn. A few discoveries were made about that. Bianca trained with Morwen. We got to know the Dolsky twins a little bit better on this ride. And after sailing for, I believe it was 3 days, and thinking about the food situation on the ship for way too long, we found a small island in which we docked, and there was a tavern called Tyr's Tyr, in which we met a kind of suspicious dragonborn named Ro, I believe, who was wary of the party, offering them lots of information, but also a slight warning that maybe it's not best for them to stay too long. Shortly after, another group of sailors came, a motley little crew who surrounded a beautiful woman named Oriana, mysterious as she is beautiful. Came in, had a brief conversation with Carasilla that was neither amazing nor terrible, but we learned a little bit about that, had that little bit of banter, and I believe there may have been something else that I'm missing, but that's all I can think of.
No, yeah, I think that hits the nail on the head there. So,
Sweet.
so let's dive in right on that note. So, what had just happened is Carasilla had this conversation with Oriana, this absolutely drop-dead gorgeous woman. So much so that even Carasilla, somebody like you who is so confident in who they are as a conversationalist and just as a person, even you started to have some troubles talking to her, lose your footing a little bit. You tried to use the spell Detect Thoughts to try and get an idea, surface level, of what she was thinking. However, she succeeded her saving throw and saw that you were casting the spell. She made a comment, and she used the cantrip Message to send a small bit of her voice into your head and say, "You're not the only one with tricks." And on that note, you sort of smiled, responded with the message saying, "Well, we all got to look out for ourselves," and headed off. Now, while that wasn't a terrible conversation, it definitely didn't go the way that you wanted it to. As you were walking back, you do have this moment, though, where you start to sort of realize what you were doing. Why was I so nervous? And you have that thought as you're walking away. You don't think much of it, but it's there. Now, as all of you were getting ready to head to sleep, as I said before when we ended last session's session, one of the things that happened in sort of the interlude is, well, as all of you are getting ready to go to bed, you can see Bianca sort of dart up from her bed and run over to Keothi. And the two of them in the corner of the tavern just sort of have this back and forth conversation rapidly, sort of Keothi kind of like nodding, trying to understand, Bianca like full of like excitement and being like, "Oh, wow, yeah," and just trying to explain. And you see the conversation go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth till eventually it comes to a close. If you'd like to know what that conversation was, I recommend you go check out last session's Isles of Iverion, because that's where that conversation happened. But, so all of you see that, and that's right at the end of that conversation where we're going to go ahead and cut back to Bianca and Keothi. As Bianca, you finish sending that last message, this idea that you'll try and find a way to communicate over a more sustained duration. Keothi just kind of stares down at you, your Goliath traveling companion, the long brown hair coming off of her, like pale white skin, and those like once brown tattoos, now that sort of dark forest green. She just sort of stares down at you and says, "So, what? I mean, I know that there's a lot of things to consider right now, but what exactly is the plan should you find a way to sustain communication?"
I don't know. I didn't think we talked to any of them so soon after we found out that they existed. I definitely didn't think my first interaction with her was going to be positive, based off what Nalfian said. I mean, they don't know a lot about the Dark One, but it sounds like they want to be allies. And we need that.
You are right. I fear that what if we get to the temple and we go to Bromsgrove, and what happens then? They send a message when they figure out how to communicate? Does she just presume you're dead? Will the message be delivered? I sadly can't say anything now, but I'm just worried that I don't know.
It definitely complicates things. I guess getting back to the present would then be the best option, because then we technically wouldn't lose any time. right?
Maybe.
Like, if we
Maybe.
leave and spend time in the past, we could return to the time that we left, right? We just need to figure out a way.
Correct.
And see, I think the problem is the way, not necessarily the idea. My idea, I think, is really good.
Yes, it is. And you can see that she's just like, her brows are furrowed and there's like 70 lines on her forehead as she's just trying to think, like, she's just nodding, like trying to like give you a confidence boost right now.
Okay, so actually, here's the best hope.
Okay.
We figure out a way to have a conversation before we go to the past so they know where we're at, and if we don't return, that's what happened. And then hopefully eventually our timelines will line up again. That would be the best, but then we have like a limited amount of time to figure out how to communicate with them, unless we just want to send a bunch of 25-word messages over like a week.
Okay. Well, it seems like a point was reached. So what if we wait
or a
to
letter?
see?
I don't know. Sorry, you finished.
Oh, no, it's okay. So what if we wait to see what they say when they find that out? And if they don't say anything by the time we get to the temple, I'll send a message then. And we go from there.
I think that's a good plan, because I just don't know if we're going to have access to the resources to learn how to send a message. Just out here, like, there's not, I don't know if you know, but like, is there any source of knowledge out here that we could seek besides some greater being or higher being that we may or may not ever find out about?
Well, I didn't get to see it. We weren't in, I wasn't in, Fjordaleth very long, but, the previous rulers of Fjordaleth, he kept a very extensive library. We might be able to have access to that.
Okay, then...
They're fairly respectful to the Goliaths of the Hearthstone. Maybe I can get us in.
Is that on the way where we're going?
It is, yes. At the very tip of the peninsula is where Fjordaleth is. And then from what the witch told us, the temple should be just north of Fjordaleth.
Okay, that's a good plan. They might have something then, if, assuming Eurydice and her friends don't find something before that.
Truthfully. Oh, well, okay. Very well. A plan is a plan, and maybe... should we tell the rest of them now, or wait until the morning?
Do they look super groggy and like they just want to go to bed? Because if they do, they'll wait. But if they're still up and about, we might as well just do it now.
Well, group?
I mean, what time is it?
At this point, it's, let's see, about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, because this would have been after you did all your hunting and gathering just for supplies for when you leave.
Can't speak for everyone. I'd say Morwen looks fine. Definitely looking over, kind of like, so what you doing?
Yeah.
Cassie's probably in the same boat.
Cecily is conscious. That much is true. So.
Well, that's more than half the group's pretty alert.
Desmond's probably also awake, just kind of twiddling his thumbs anxiously.
Okay, so then they all look,
All right.
yeah, moderate to okay.
Well, then let's just tell them now. Bianca kind of looks up at Keothy.
Okay, well, I'll let you do the explaining. You were doing a good job earlier. Don't want to ruin the streak.
Oh, I hope I was. Okay. She's gonna kind of walk to everybody, maybe like the center. I don't know how the beds are laid out.
Yeah, so there's pretty much beds up against one wall. Like, they're all up against one wall.
Then she'll just kind of face everybody. So, I just received a message from Eurydice. If you guys remember, she was one of the people's graves that we saw in the future, and Nalfian talked about her a little bit. And she learned some things about... She's also kind of... Real quick, before she keeps continuing, is Crow hanging out? Or is he gone?
No, he's kind of going back and forth. There's like a small storage building behind the main sort of longhouse that he's just kind of idly going back and forth from, but he hasn't been back inside for maybe 15, 20 minutes now.
Okay, cool. Well, if he ever walks back in, it's going to be one of those awkward, like, everyone just kind of stops talking and stares right at him moments, probably. Anyway, so then she'll continue. And seems like she has learned some knowledge about the Dark One, and she wanted to reach out. Doesn't seem like an enemy or a threat from what I could tell. Said some nice things. So it was kind of comforting to hear that, and it seems like she wants her whole friends want to be allies and help us, and asked if we knew any more stuff. I gave a little bit more information, definitely let them know that we had met Nalfian. I didn't say, she's like kind of thinking, she's like, I didn't say how we met. There was a lot of, I'm sure they're very confused. I gave as much as I could just from sending messages back and forth, and we really need to figure out how to have a longer conversation with these people, because if they know information that could help us, and we have information and they want to help us, it only makes sense that we keep that line good. But I just wanted to make sure everyone was kind of caught up.
Wait, okay, so we're gonna say something to them, and then we're gonna go to the past, and we're going to say it later, and then do we wait or do...
Okay,
Fuck.
So here's my thought. If we can get back into the present from the past, we can come back to where we left, so we'll never leave this timeline. But that's only if we can get back. Yeah, I know it's kind of crazy. But the other thing is, if we can't get that full conversation before we leave, Keothi and I are just going to let them know that we're peacing out and not to contact us, but we're not dead. And we might return, but we're not sure. So it's all confusing and convoluted and
It all depends if time is a bunch of lines or a bunch of circles.
Time travel makes no sense.
Well, I guess it just really is more so what philosophy of life you believe in. Look at someone like Ashima, and Ashima, correct me if I'm wrong, but typically the monks of Loshar believe time to be cyclical, in a circle, right? That's with reincarnation?
Oh, correct. Eventually, the world will end, but upon its destruction, something will be born.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's like the really big circle. Are there like a million little circles in the big circle?
I like to think of time like a clock, so yes. Millions of little circles whizzing all together, and if one circle stops, the machine breaks. Which is a comforting thought.
I like to personally think of it like a constantly writing script or story. And if you go back and you erase something in the first page, you have to change something that happens in page 10. So
another analogy that may assist you, Cecily, is have you ever seen a circus performer lying upon a bed of nails?
You know, actually, yes. Go on.
You're not sure at first how they managed to do it, but you do know that they are not impaled upon the nails, yes?
Well, this guy was close, but yeah.
Well, there is an understanding that the man would not have lied down upon the bed of nails without having a reason for doing so, and his weight would not be supported by the nails if not for that reason. Even though we do not fully understand it, we can accept that this man is not impaled, for that is the reality.
Huh.
Essentially, things must work out, because if this were impossible, we would not have even come this far.
With that, you can see kind of Rogue kind of comes back in. He's got like a bundle on his back, and he kind of sets it on the counter, and you can see that he starts to take out fish and slowly starts to gut them and descale them just in front of all of you, just on the counter, not like super close, but just kind of back by the counter, maybe 20, 30 feet away from you. But he's back in the room now.
So just keeping you guys updated and transparency is all I was trying to go for. Sorry to give us all a headache. Assuming she gave everyone a really bad headache, she's just going to go to bed.
And Cecily's just gonna sit there and be like, okay. So magic is a weave, and time is chainmail.
What?
You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to sleep.
Cecily, think of it like light speed travel. If
Nope,
something
you won't go to
is
bed. You won't go to bed.
million
You go to
light
bed.
years
You go to
away.
bed. Sleep is found by all.
See you in the morning, Bianca.
Yep. Hopefully my headache will be gone.
No, Cecily will probably still be here.
Oh, damn.
Bianca didn't laugh, but that was really funny.
All right. So, with that, all of you head to sleep. You lay your heads onto the feather pillows and hard wooden beds that are in Tyr's Tier, this inn that you found on this small island in the fractured peninsula. As you lay your heads down, you can hear the crackling of fire, this ambient noise as you head to sleep. The sort of snapping and breaking of kindling and twigs. Every once in a while. And it's a spot of comfort, warmth, especially in the frigid, cold, and snowy airs of the fractured peninsula. It's a source of comfort. But, and I would just like to say, for this next part, I'd like everybody to just trust me, okay? So just assume that I'm not misspeaking, all right?
Okay.
So as all of you head to sleep, laying your head down, listening to the crackling flame, you begin to feel that presence, those eyes watching you. Ashima, you open your eyes and you look around you, flames still crackling, but all of the beds beside you are empty. You are the only one standing or laying on your bed still. As you sit up and look out to the rest of the inn, you can see a man sitting in a chair facing the fire away from you. What do you do?
I guess he would very meekly approach the man.
Okay. So
While walking. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Morwyn, as you stand and approach the man, what do you say?
Where are the others?
You can see the face angle over the shoulder towards you. You can see the edge of a face. An older man in his middle years, maybe at one point was handsome, but where eyes should be and a mouth should be, there is just bouts of flame. As the head leans over, a voice responds. They are here with you. Carasilla, how do you respond?
Oh, would you mind filling me in on what exactly is happening?
Come join me by the fire, and your answers will be had. Desmond, do you join him by the fire?
Very tentatively.
Okay. Now, Desmond, sitting down, looking face to face with him, you can see those bouts of flame even more clearer. Those pits of blackness that seem to extend forever. Abyss, wreathed in flame. Cecily, as you're sitting down looking into that abyss, those wreaths of flame, what do you say?
Where did you come from?
The man smiles. The overextending of flames reaching almost the corners of his ears. You are not very smart, are you? I'm always here, always watching, always ready to take what is owed to me. Bianca, how do you respond?
What do you mean by owed?
The man laughs again. All of this is owed to me. Upon creation, I was locked away outside everything. Realms of oblivion, of nothing, of pain and destruction. But now as the weave begins to tear, I will take what is truly mine. Ashima, how do you respond?
You must know that we will never let you.
The head reels back as this maniacal laughter fills the room. Upon laughing, the flame of the fire pit grows in intensity. You think you are any match for me? In 1,000 histories of the world, I have won. Against that of Aurelia, Sietra, Omen, Kjaldis, and Vanek, and even Elowen herself. Oh, the reality you saw. Oh, yes. I know where you went. She was the last to fall in that reality. Why else do you think it would look like that? Morwen, how do you respond?
The way I see it, we're still standing. You haven't won yet.
In this reality, yes. This string of the weave. We have fought before. And you have fallen before. Carasilla, how do you respond?
Is this all just going to be a little mind game of yours, or do you actually have something you want to say?
I want to extend an offer one last time. You will never be safe from the great Lord of Dark. Continue your futile attempt to prevent what is destined to be. Thousands of timelines, millions of servants of the light. All of them failed. You will join their ranks among my legions before this is all over. Desmond, how do you respond?
You're a fool if you think we'll join you.
You will either serve me in life or be my thrall in death. You see, I am the great lord of the dark, the lord of the domain of the grave. When you die, you will serve me. You've died before, and you shall die again. Cecily, how do you respond?
There has to be 10,000 timelines where I died on the street. The fact that I'm here at all means you're probably fucked.
You will go to Bronzegrove. You will attempt to gather the forces of the children of the flame. You've done so before thousands of times. You will arrive within the fortnight. The turning of the new year. The children of the flame will not accept you. They will say that the letter is falsified. The seal has been broken. They will know. Then you will be approached by the hidden flame. You will be approached by Solvis. Oh, yes, you know him. You do. All of you do. He will attempt to give you what help he can, but eventually my servant will arrive in Bronzegrove by the end of the new year. Solvis's flame will be extinguished, and then there will be no one to save you. Bianca, how do you respond?
So if you're so sure and confident, why did you need someone like Issen, someone like me, to come and help you with this plan? I don't believe you. You're afraid.
And you can see he just leans forward and then slowly begins to stand. That form, that human form, shoulders and arms, legs, and a chair. As soon as it begins to stand, they all begin to sort of melt away. All of you now standing in the exact same point in time. All of you standing together. All of you in agreement. All of you standing against him. As soon as he stands, his form begins to grow 10, 15, 20 feet tall, until eventually he is his head to the ceiling. His form begins to expand. What was once a human body just enraptures the entire room until there is nothing but a small mote of flame that causes crackles of orange and red, matching his face. Bouts of flame in the middle of darkness. You can smell burnt wood. You can see ash begin to fly in front of your face. And that bout of flame smiles as he says, "Try as you will. You have failed every single time. My servants may fail me, but even when you kill one or the other, I always take what is mine." Good luck in your journey to Bronzegrove. For what it's worth, I hope the winds are favorable. You'll need all the time you can get. And with that, you can see this large bout of flame begin to swirl around and slam down towards each one of you as all of you throw up your hands. Each and every single one of you shoot up immediately. In the room, you can see the flame still sort of going in the middle of the fireplace. All of you look to one another, all of you sharing that experience. And all of you can see a chair sitting next to the fireplace, smoldering and burning, small bits of ash flying away out the door. As all of you look up to one another, you all recognize that you all had the same thing happen to you. So, seeing that, recognizing that, what do you do?
Is everyone okay?
So we all experienced the same thing then.
Seems like it. Was interesting, to say the least.
You know, it's actually probably not the worst nightmare I've had. Anyone mind if I break this chair?
Please do.
Alright, and she'll...
It's not ours.
Break it anyway. Break the
It's not
fucking
ours.
rules. Break the rules.
It's not
It's
ours.
on fire!
Yeah, but it wasn't here. Wait, was the chair there before we went to sleep?
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Then it's
Oh.
not his either. Break the fucking chair.
Break it. Break it.
Alright, yeah, no. Shooting some fire bolts at it and just... Yeah, okay.
I'd remind you, this is a wooden building.
You
Hey, I
shoot the
got it, I
firebolts,
got
No,
it.
it's fine. It's fine.
and
Bianca
it falls into the
extinguishes.
fireplace.
I can put it out with frost, maybe.
Or thaumaturgy. I can just get rid of it.
Fire does
Yeah.
not work like that.
Shima, it's fine. We did it.
Yes.
Is it nighttime, Joe, still?
Oh, yeah, you guys maybe went to sleep 5 minutes ago? Maybe 4?
I think maybe one of our mistakes is we're always supposed to watch, no matter what. That's something we were told a long time ago, back when we were in Summer's Rest.
Right.
Maybe all of us resting is too easy for him.
It is his domain.
Hey, Joe, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Did we all experience, like, being each other and saying those things? Or was it, like, as if we were the person saying all of the things that everybody else said, and then we realized everybody was there?
The latter.
Okay.
The latter is even more fucky.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. We've soul melded. Oh god.
Instrumentality.
She's touching my soul!
Mom.
Well, Cecily will just kind of plop down on the floor and just, okay. Well, as long as we don't have a night off, I'll just be on first watch here, I guess.
I'll watch as well.
I don't know if any of us are going to be able to sleep very well after that.
No.
Yeah, do
Hey,
some laps, you'll
Letting him
pass
get
out.
into your head is what he wants, right? It's the whole mind game that he plays. If you let him do that, then he's already won.
But,
That is
I-
astute.
Curious. He said something. And you can see Quixote kind of pulls out her journal and she sort of flips to the back, and she has like a small little almanac in the back, like of like different calendar dates. He's wrong. We're not going to Bromsgrove. At least, we would be to Bromsgrove in a fortnight if we were going there right now. Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks from where the temple is.
He also mentioned something about a letter. Did you guys mention this letter and explain? You said something needed to be taken to the Hidden Flame, but did you say it needed to go to Bromsgrove?
No, I think we would have probably just said it was Hidden Flame because I don't think we'd make the connection that, oh yeah, you guys don't know shit. Was he referring to? She's gonna point it to you guys, to whatever letter you guys had. It seemed like it would be the one. But more than convinced that we'd be able to at least explain the situation. We had our reasons to do what we did.
But Keothi's right. He's still wrong. That's not what we're even doing. He doesn't know our plan.
Or he's the father of lies, as everybody keeps saying. It's probably best to consider everything
Why
he
lie
says
about that, though?
bullshit.
I mean, sure, it's probably definitely bullshit, but I mean, there's a lot of things he could lie about. It was an intimidation tactic, and why would you not say that you know all the cards that we hold? Seems like a odd thing to miss out, especially if he's always watching or whatever.
Well, maybe he's lying about that too.
No, I
Seems
think we
like
were
it.
all right. I think he's scared.
And if he can't always be watching, it's trying to put that idea in our head, make us not wanting to plan or do what we're doing.
Yep,
Think that he's already so many steps ahead when really he's falling behind.
just
And it's-
like a headmaster.
And it's interesting that this happened so quickly after meeting you two, and also after we connected with Eurydice and her group. Maybe things are really starting to worry him. For real.
You can see Keothi kind of laugh a little bit. You know, when I was growing up, I never thought that I would ever make anybody scared. But I've got to tell you, it feels pretty good that the father of lies might be scared of us.
Yeah.
Feels kind of
Hey.
badass.
I
Not
mean,
gonna lie.
Cecily is pretty scary, so.
Well, we knew that. Besides, I don't know if we can really trust Emeril anymore. But whatever he's up to, I'd be scared of him too.
At least we know who we can trust. She's gonna look at everyone in the room. We'll always have that.
Oh, Bianca, you're too nice.
Aww.
Morwen and Carasilla, I know that I didn't get to thank you that day. I just want you two to know that I'm thankful for that. And I want the rest of you to know that should this father of lies ever try to do anything to you, you all are my friends, and I will do anything I have to do to make sure that nothing bad happens to you.
I feel the same.
Good. She smiles at the rest of you. And then goes back to lay down. Everybody sort of following suit, leaving, what was it, Bianca and Ashima up for watch?
I think it was Cecily and Bianca.
Cecily and Bianca.
Because do we just need one more watch?
I'll stay up for I'll fill.
Do we need 2 watches? I don't know.
Yeah,
how
because
much.
you weren't only asleep for like 5
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
Right.
It was
Oh,
like as
God.
soon as you, yeah.
So Sesianka, first watch. Ashim someone.
I'll do it with Ashima.
Yeah,
Shimond. That's a good one.
Shimon.
Shimond.
That's my
Desmina.
next D&D character.
Shimon gotta do them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been
So-
a long day.
So Cecily, Bianca, the two of you begin your watch, and easy enough. The watch passes. It is, you're in a like long rectangular building with only like 1.5 points of interest.
Yeah,
or
we're staying
entrance.
up to not have more dreams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay. So.
But Bianca did want to say something to Cecily.
Oh yeah, of course. Please do. Please do.
No.
Okay.
Do it that role play.
Sorry. Okay, so Bianca's gonna go to their whatever they gathered from their hunting and gathering and find like a bag of apples or I don't know, whatever fruit is in the area. I'm going with apples.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
she's gonna say, so Cecily, I don't know if you know this about me, but there are certain tasks that I like doing them when they need to be done, but I just can't respond to somebody when they're talking to me when I do this task. So I'm gonna start peeling apples, and if you need to talk, I'm sorry, I will listen, but I won't respond, just so you know. And then she'll sit down and start peeling some apples.
What? Yeah, Cecily's just gonna kind of be like, okay. Why?
Just.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Laugh.
Well, I don't. I mean, I don't have much to. I don't know. I mean, we saw the dark one. I mean, what else is there to say beyond that? I mean, it's like, you talk about that now, and then there's going to be a new thing tomorrow, and then we're not going to be able to talk about that, and be a new thing tomorrow, and then, it's just going to keep happening, so, I mean. Why are you peeling an apple right now?
She'll set down the apples. Well, I had to stop, because I needed to respond. I don't know, I just feel like, you have a lot to get off your chest, and I know that I just cannot respond to people when I peel an apple. So I was just like, there's been a lot going on, and I was just gonna listen to you if you needed to. I don't know. And then she'll pick up an apple and start peeling the apple again.
Cecily is gonna try very hard not to laugh.
She can. Bianca will continue. She knows it's silly. She's not trying to be anything but kind of silly.
But it's more like Cecily doesn't want to admit that this is kind of working, but it's really funny, and so she's kind of just okay. Well. This is nice. This is a lot nicer than my last watch. There was a lot of talking during that one. Are you not... Are you not scared of all the shit happening?
Bianca will set down the apples. I really thought you didn't want me to respond, Cecily.
What?
But I will.
Okay.
It's all good.
You know,
We can have a
just the one
conversation.
time. Just the one time.
Okay. Yes, I am. I'm scared for my family. I'm scared for you all. A lot more than I'm scared for myself. But I am scared for myself. And I don't ever know what to expect. But finding good people along the way has made it a lot more worth it. Whatever the hell we're doing. Like, we know, but we don't know what we're doing. And especially traveling with you, Desmond, and when we were traveling with Poe, that was a lot because it was like me and Ashima had to be, you know, adults, and I'm barely an adult. And letting Poe go. I still can't believe he's gone. And we don't have to talk about that. But I feel like you want to. And this is where I can start peeling apples, if you want me to. Just nod yes or no.
You're kind of an adult, you know. Like a little more than barely.
It doesn't feel that way. You'll know what I mean when you're my age, but you really don't feel like an adult. Nothing changes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get more responsibilities.
You're fucking 25.
Yeah. Don't
You're
remind me.
You're ancient. You're
Thanks, Cecily.
expired. You've
So what do you
gone
think-
bad.
Well, how do you think I look at you? An infant? Would you like to be looked at like a baby?
I am... Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Okay. So you've done the teenage bullshit before, right?
Yeah. I'd say I got that qualification.
Did anyone ever tell you about how they felt?
Like
you know-
romantically?
Yeah. Yeah. Like that.
Actually, no. Nope, that is not one of my qualifications. But my parents are incredibly over the moon for each other. And they
always said, like, oh, you'll find someone, and it'll just be like night and day when you're with them. And I haven't had that. I don't know if I ever will. But I know what love is. I saw it every day of my life.
I just don't get it.
Don't get romantic feelings or love.
Pick up the apple again.
Okay. And she's picking up the apple, and she's peeling away.
I don't get what he said. I mean, I know he meant it. Because he can't lie to save his ass. I just don't know why he meant it. I mean, first thing I ever did to him was lie. I told him I had a sick brother. Because I found out kind of early that if you're just plain old hungry, no one gives a shit, so gotta have a story. And I did that for years. I probably owe him and his dad 200 gold. Maybe more. And then, you know, this shit happens, and I'm just... I just yell at him. I make fun of him. I shut him out. I threaten to beat him. Not that I could. It just pisses me off. I mean, he's like so good, it's fucking annoying. He's probably the best person I've ever met, and somehow he convinced himself that I was worth it. Person who has no friends, lies to everybody, can't admit anything. God, and I smell all the time. hardly even know how to take care of myself because no one taught me how. I'm all scarred up. I've got some from falling, fighting, getting bit by dogs on the street. Sometimes it was somebody that adopted me. Sometimes it was myself. I didn't know what else to do. He doesn't feel that way about me. It's bullshit. So, yeah. That is what I've been meaning to say. So, I guess you can stop peeling that apple now.
Bianca, you're about almost to the core on the one.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I over-peeled by a lot. And she's got to set it down. Thank you for telling me.
Why? What's the point?
Well, the point would be that you're feeling safe. I think, maybe for the first time in your life, and that's hilarious since the dream we just had, so it says a lot. And I guess the other reason for saying thank you is I wanted to know. Not in a nosy way, but in an I care for you way. And I know those feelings might be a little overwhelming for you, but they're true. I can say that for me, they definitely are. And you stated it before you finished your story that Poe's one of the most honest people you know. So that means he wasn't lying. But I understand why that would be hard for you to understand.
You don't have to be lying to be wrong. He's just a fucking idiot.
You know, it's probably more likely, if I can be really blunt, that your own personal emotions are the one shutting out the feelings that we have for you. And maybe once you learn to see yourself the way we do, you'll feel what we feel for you. I'm not gonna sit here and say I had this super rough life or anything. But I do know what it's like to not love yourself. And it's not easy to find that love. But it's possible. Because if we can love you, you can love yourself. You just need to... Maybe you need to meet yourself. Who you actually are. I don't know. Because you say all these things like, I'm a screw up and I'm stinky, but we're all stinky, so there's that. I don't know the last time I had a shower. Ocean spray, I guess, if you want to consider that. And if you're a big fuck up, then I'm a major fuck up. I fucked up before we ever started this journey. Before I ever met you. Big time. That black dragon in Ordero. I set him free, I think.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that's pretty bad.
It's really bad.
Oh, that's really bad.
It's so bad.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Man.
Ow.
Trying to process that still. And I broke it to you before everybody else. I was gonna get there. It's just... And I'm sure everyone here, Desmond, Karasilla, Morwind, Ashima, and Poe's screwed up. He just was more honest and cute about it, probably. But we're all fuck ups a little bit. But what matters is how you move forward. Or at least I hope that's what matters, because that's what I'm trying to do, to make amends for the fuck-ups of my life and my family's. So in solidarity, we're all fuck-ups.
So, Bianca, as you get about there, you can see that coming in from that back door that Ro has kind of been going in and out of, he steps in, just sort of gives you a nod. You can see he's got this like big, thick wool coat with fur on it, and he's carrying some logs. And he just, seeing the two of you, he just sort of gives you a curious sort of wave and just says, I could tell the fire on the chimney smoke was a little low. Just came in to give it some more fuel. Kind of steps through, he kind of throws some of the logs on the fire, and you can see that he just sort of goes down to the end of the one line, and you can see he cups his hands around that sort of dragonborn maw and just inhales, filling up his chest, and lets out a very thin stream of flame, just in one brief flash across that line, and the flames pick up. And he does come over to the two of you just briefly on his way out. He sort of kneels down wherever you are, and he just says, I was also just curious. I know I'm asked about him before, but the bronze dragonborn you travel with, what is his name again?
Desmond.
Desmond. O'Malley?
Yes. Insight. Is he angry?
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Make an insight check.
It didn't sound angry to me, but I also...
What's your vibe, bro?
Yeah.
What do you know, Crow? Are you friend or foe, Crow?
Oh, fucking bars. Oh.
11.
11. He is the most... You thought Ashima was the epitome of neutrality. This dragonborn scaly face that you can tell has different cracks in the scales tinged with sort of fiery red. You get nothing. You just sort of
Does that mean something to you in a negative way? Bianca's lost all of her cool. Not that she had a lot in the first
you
place.
stopped peeling apples. Well, you continue to peel, but you're starting to scrape your hand a little bit. And he's like, "Watch out, you're cutting yourself."
Yeah, I'm not gonna finish that sentence that I was gonna say. Anyway.
Well, I just word of different metallic dragonborn get around. You know, nice to have one of my own in the tavern. I'll have a conversation with him in the morning. I just wanted to know a little bit more before I said anything. Thanks. And he kind of stands up, and before he goes, he kind of turns back around and says, "By the way, is the temperature in here all right?"
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And I'm sure Desmond would definitely appreciate the more fire.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, little one, do you have a preference on bread? I saw that you pretty much wiped me clean earlier. I have several different types of flour I can make it from if you have a preference.
Yeah. Well, you know, 'cause like some bread's got like the seeds in it, you know?
Yeah, whole grain.
Like, yeah. And you know, sometimes that's just like filler. It's just bad. It's just like you're real poor, so you just threw fucking sand in there, you know, just to make it bigger. But like sometimes they got those little, you know, those like little flat ones, little flat seeds, and those little like black dot seeds that the rich people have. I don't know what they're called.
Little black dot seeds. You mean raisins?
Those are raisins?
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, I can make some cinnamon raisin bread if you want. It takes a little more time, but...
Cinnamon and raisin? And bread?
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of work, but you're guests here, so... best hospitality I can offer.
Tomorrow will be a day full of new experiences.
Yeah, never knew those were raisins. That's funny. Kind of shakes his head and says, you know, if you ever come back here, remind me to make you a bagel. I think you'd really enjoy those.
What's
Don't worry about it.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
He walks away.
Bianca,
Or we'll
what's
get
a
you
bagel?
one. Say that again, Mark. Sorry.
What is a bagel, Bianca? Is it a type of bread? Because I need to know
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yes, it's a circular shape, and it's kind of like. Have you had a donut? That's like deep fried.
Right.
cookie
No, are
kind of
those
bread.
like the beignets, but instead of being
Similar.
fluffy, they're like the dense yeah.
Yeah. So a bagel is like the shape of a donut that's a little bit like more squished together, and it's like this. It's but bread, and you can get like different things on it as well. Most people put like cream cheese, or some people put butter and jam. So it's just a different kind of bread, but they're very good.
Huh. I want to try every kind of bread. And then if we die fighting the Dark One, that'll make it worth it.
I think that's a fair goal.
Yeah.
I haven't tried every single kind of bread.
Right, I mean, how many can there be? 12?
No. Probably Okay, so think about all the cultures in the world.
And that's where we're going to cut. We're going to cut right there.
Good, because I was like, oh my god.
Yep, that's boom. Fade to black.
Imagine
Transition.
the speed of light.
Transition to 20 minutes later, Ashima, Desmond sitting in the same place. You see a whole bunch of peeled apples that was not explained to you. The two of them were tired. So the two of you were up on your watch. Was there anything you wanted to do, or are you good to continue to sleep through? I mean, preserve your watch through. Yeah, sorry.
Desmond will look at Ashima and say, "What the fuck was she doing with these apples?"
Someone has been very wasteful.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The same thing. Like, what the hell?
But you
could
guys
make
can't
these,
eat a shredded apple? Okay.
You could make these and cut them into some very delicious apple chips.
Wait,
being
did
dried.
Bianca actually say that? Or was she asleep?
No, that was
Okay.
Felicity.
Okay, because if that was Bianca with the challenge, Desmond's just gonna shove all of them in his mouth.
Oh my god. I mean, sure, we could say that, but then you're wasteful. So
Not
Just depends
wasting
who
if
we
you
want.
actually eat it.
all at once, that's a waste. Anyway, we're done.
What do you mean that's a waste?
And cut. We're gonna. You all wake up the next. No, I'm just kidding. So, are you guys talking about anything on your watch, or are you just kind of staying awake, making sure everybody's okay?
I'm good to just. No, I
Yeah.
don't really have anything particular that I need to do.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
chill.
Faux show, my dude. All right. So the two of you chill. You totally
I challenge
vibe together.
Ashima to a thumb war.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'd like the two of you to make dexterity checks.
Bet.
16.
Damn. I have small thumbs.
Yeah, the fact that your hand is half the size and Desmond has a claw on it, you're a little intimidated. And luckily, Desmond, you're able to kind of swing your thumb around and you're able to do that thing where you just like grab his thumb at the base and just pin it to your hand. and you keep him there for about 5 seconds to show him who's boss.
Biologically, this is not fair.
All's fair in love and thumb wars.
Oh, yes? Would you care to have a foot wrestle?
I've never done that, but sure. How do you do it? I'm up for anything.
It's not a thing. I was merely being sarcastic.
Okay.
I have larger
Well-
feet than you.
Desmond looks at his feet and he feels defeated.
And cut. All right. The sun rises on another day in the fractured peninsula.
Not quite the mood, Joe. Not quite his tempo.
So, J.K. Simmons throws a chair at Desmond. All right, so with that, Desmond and Ashima, you finish your watch, and the rest of you wake up. And you can see that Ro is sort of sitting at the bar, and it's right at the back of the room, that sort of U-shaped bar. And you can see that he's already sort of throwing things into those 2 stone ovens on the very back, and in the cooking pots. In the center, you can see that he's starting to maybe crack some eggs, make some stew, different things there. Not as much as he had before. Now knowing how many people are here for the day, he just begins to throw those things in there. And he just begins to sort of walk around, and he actually comes towards where you are, Desmond. And this Dragonborn is about twice the size as you. I mean, truthfully, he's not nearly twice as tall, but twice as wide, probably. He is a broad man and probably stands about 6'7", 6'10". I mean, he's a huge Dragonborn.
Jesus.
And he kind of approaches you and just sort of looks down and says, "So I heard your name's Desmond O'Malley, right?"
Desmond will look up, and that comment will kind of throw him off. And he'll sheepishly look him back in the eye, and he'll say, "What of it?"
Well, you see, it's not very often I get to have a metallic brethren here with me. And especially one whose name's so well known, such as yourself. Listen, I want to show you something real quick. It's right up at the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, come on up.
Don't worry about it. And he kind of like smacks you on the back very hard. Not aggressively, but maybe just like he doesn't understand his own strength. I don't know. So, walk up to the bar, and he says,
You see that right there?
and he kind of points at the bar, but there's nothing there. How closely do you
Bar?
inspect it?
If he doesn't see anything, he'll just kind of shrug it off and look back at him and say, "What do you, the bar? Yeah, I see the bar."
You don't see that little speck right there? Something that only Dragonborn can see.
He'll kind of squint his eyes and look back at it.
Okay. So as you're sort of squinting your eyes, looking back at it, you feel just like rushing air for a moment as before you can do anything else, you can feel his hand on top of your head and just slam your head into the bar as you just feel the bones in your nose begin to just kind of like crack a little bit as you're just going to take 7 points of bludgeoning damage as you crack, as you can just feel blood begin to pour out of your nose as you sort of are recoiling, your ears ringing. He grabs you by the throat and then slams you down onto the bar and just starts screaming at you. Why did you do it? Why did you do that to them? And then as the rest of you sort of look around, seeing Desmond like bleeding from the nose, kind of trying to smack at this man, you can see that the Dragonborn reaches his hand up, and then of all of the weapons and armor hanging from the different areas, there is a sword that flies out of a shield, clinging to his hand that begins to wreathe with golden flame, as then holding on Desmond's neck and right above Desmond's throat, holds that blade up against this throat. And Desmond, you can feel the flame beginning to writhe around your neck, almost like creating a collar almost. And he just keeps yelling, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it?"
I don't know. Do what?
Okay, well, Bianca would try and get this guy off of Desmond, for sure.
Yeah, Carousel is casting a calm emotions.
That'll be more helpful than Lightning Bolt, but I'll have Lightning Bolt ready as a backup.
Okay, so with that, he's gonna kind of pick Desmond up and throw him down onto the ground. Desmond, you take another 9 points of bludgeoning damage as your back slams into the ground, sword at your throat. What is the DC on calm emotions?
It's a Charisma 14.
Charisma 14. Okay, let me check his stats here real quick.
And I'll even give him negative inspiration.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Alrighty. Charisma saving throw. Okay, alright. So let's see. DC 14, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
But also minus D8 onto that.
Okay, minus a D8. Go ahead and roll the D8 for me.
That's 3.
3. Yeah, sadly, no. That was a dirty 20. 17. And you can see him just pointing the sword down, and he reaches his hand out to all of you, and he says, "Stay back! Obviously, this imposter, this traitor, has been following all of you around, and you have no idea the horrors that he's done." And raising his hand up to you, you can see his hand like glowing with this divine energy. And almost
Bianca
like
will-
white flame sparking off of it. Sorry, go ahead.
Before she gets up to him, since Desmond's now at least out of his grasp, she's going to what is it even called? I don't remember. That where she can freeze them in place.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
Yeah, no, not hold person.
Like specific to. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the blood things. Yeah.
And I don't know where to find it on my new thing.
I think it's in maybe look for
One Curse of Binding, I found it.
Yeah, okay.
So
And-
she's gonna do that and then go up to him and just be like, "What the fuck?" And
Well,
like
that's a
have her
saving
hand
throw,
up
right?
on him.
That's a saving
Yeah,
throw,
it
right?
is.
Okay, so
It
what's
is.
the DC?
15.
15 and con?
Strength saving
Strength.
throw.
Ooh, yeah, I'm very sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's gonna be a 29.
What if it was a 1, Joe?
What if, right? So he just has his hand up and he's just like, you can see that he has these pleading eyes towards all of you, and then this hatred centered at Desmond. And he just says, no, please stay back. I don't want him to hurt you. Who knows when it would happen? This
Well, then she-
Dragonborn is dangerous.
A good idea if we all just calm down a little bit and maybe we can talk about what's happening. He hasn't been dangerous so far. Seems odd to just presume danger suddenly.
That's what they all thought too.
If you mean to protect us, then inform us of what he's done, and then we can assist you as well.
Do anything.
20 years ago, Suni the Forsaken arrives in a temple dedicated to raising those newly found Dragonborn into the ways of the light, the ways of Bahamut. He arrives with a mercenary captain by the name of Desmond O'Malley. A red Dragonborn who found the light of Bahamut, led the defense. Not much is known aside from that, other than the bodies that were found in the temple. Overgrown with flora and fauna. Suni betrayed everything that Bahamut ever taught him, that his masters ever taught him for. And in my opinion, for what I know to be true from what I've learned in my life.
And he kind of like presses the blazing hot sword up against your chin, Desmond, where you're gonna take another 4 points of fire damage.
Okay.
To serve the great Lord of the Dark.
It's
Suni
not
the
true.
Forsaken.
Make a persuasion
Bianca
check,
will whip
Desmond.
her. And then Bianca will point the gun and be like, "All right, you need to back away now." Sorry, that probably won't help the persuasion, though.
It's okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Intimidation.
Wait, am I making a persuasion?
Maybe.
Yeah,
No.
you're making a persuasion check.
Oh, got it.
11 plus
11.
like 2, maybe just 1.
So he kind of like recoils the sword a little bit from your chin, and he's gonna go ahead and make an insight check. Okay, that's a 19 plus 6. So that's a 5. Okay. You can see he just kind of looks down at you, and he sort of steps back.
Desmond has he's pleading with his eyes.
You can
I'm
see
not him.
he sets the sword on the table, and as soon as it leaves his hand, the flame extinguishes, and he says,
You really don't know, do you?
He just shakes his head.
How do you...
and you can see he doesn't have a sword in his hand, and there's no more ill intent towards Desmond.
What do you... But you...
All I know is that I woke up one day with not a god's damn thing in my head other than the name Desmond. I didn't do it. I'm not him. Whatever it was that he did. You have to believe me.
I do. Come here, young one.
And he kind of grabs your hand and pulls you up, and he's going to put, obviously, you're not that damaged, but he's going to pour 40 points of lay on hands into you.
I don't know. He did 20 out of my 37 hit points.
So yeah, he's gonna put 40 points of lay on hands into you, and you just feel this light fill your entire body. As the wounds begin to close, the singeing goes away, and you still have some aches and pains, but you're not bleeding anymore. And he just looks at you and he says,
I didn't know. How do you not remember? You are him. There is only one Dragonborn that I have ever heard of that would choose to go by the name Desmond O'Malley. That monster's still in Bella Clara. You don't remember anything?
Just has his hands kind of curled over the top of his head, kneeling down, and he just keeps shaking it.
Ro kind of takes you over towards a chair and sits down next to you and sort of places his massive hand on your shoulder and says,
I am incredibly sorry for what I've done. If I would have known that you had found your way back to, or at least away from that darkness, I would not have ever done that to you. You might not have any memories of our order, of what we do, but I take my vows very seriously. Hrothgar Damadren does not take those vows lightly.
and Morwen and Carasilla, you have a oh fuck moment as soon as he says his name. Because Hrothgar Damadren was a gold dragonborn, serving within the ranks of the Children of the Flame. And in fact, he wasn't just anyone. Before bearer Dorian Almer, it was bearer Hrothgar Damadren. The two of you you never read any reasons why Hrothgar left. In fact, it was mostly just talked about that he died defending what was just for the Children of the Flame. But he's obviously not dead. He's right there, talking to Desmond. And in fact, you now start to see things that you hadn't before. That sword of flame emblazoned on the hilt, a three-pointed spout of flame, on a shield hanging from the ceiling. White steel trimmed in gold, a three-pointed golden flame. He looks to you, Desmond, and he says,
I'm so sorry you don't know. The turmoil you must be going through. Sunni was a monster. He learned the ways at that very temple. Learned how to manipulate elements and magic. A master bladesmith and wielder of them. He left after his raising some 90, 100 years ago. And he returned to that very same temple. Not but 15, 20 years ago. He destroyed it. Throwing away balance. One of the last bastions of the true oaths, the ones I took. And the ones you took.
It doesn't make any sense. It was only, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago that I woke up.
Oh, my boy. God's only
But I
know
w-
what's happened to you.
But I was still there.
Well, I can guarantee you that when I personally took battalions of the Children of the Flame to scour Bella for you. You were nowhere to be seen. That was maybe 10 years ago. You weren't in the temple, you were nowhere. Gods only
Wait.
know where you were.
So, how old is he then?
You see, Suni was unique. Suni has had
And you see him kind of exhale and then look back up towards all of you and then looks towards you, Desmond.
Suni was given many chances. Suni has fought in many wars over spans of time and history. You fought next to great kings, emperors all around the world. But this iteration of Suni, if it can be one, and perhaps you died on that day, then you would only be 15 years old at that point. But the spirit of Suni has existed for thousands of years. In fact, there are many lives that,
And looks towards you, Ashima.
many lives that you lived, where you fought beside him as well. Guess it is true what they say. Friendships last more than a lifetime.
But reincarnation on this scale is not... It simply cannot be. Energy and ki transferred into the division of... On this scale, it's unprecedented. And he's just like looking at Desmond in awe.
And Desmond, you are starting to feel very lightheaded. You have this instinct where anytime things got too bad, you ran. And right now, the anxiety in your brain is just firing one after another of different things, and you can feel things start to unlock. You start to have memories, these flashes, these experiences. You fighting in a desert against these giant sand creatures. You see yourselves surrounded by cherry blossoms fighting with armored knights, but in a different style than you've ever seen, you've ever heard of. You see yourself fighting on ships, clashing together, spears being thrown, bolts of flame flying over your head. All of these experiences flashing through your mind, and you just can't. You try and stand up to run, but you fall, crashing onto the ground. All of you begin to sort of move towards Desmond to grab him, and Rogar, you can see he begins to, or Hrothgar, he moves over and he begins to channel this divine energy into Desmond's head and says,
So I know that I said that I wanted you all out by morning, but you all can stay as long as you need, because I don't know when he's going to be ready to move. Not before the day is out, I can guarantee you that.
and he just continues to channel that divine energy and just says,
If any of you are skilled in medicines and herbs at all, I have a few things you can go get from the forest that might be able to help a bit. The rest of you, keep a watchful eye on this, guys. This surge of knowledge and magic, it can attract the wrong types.
and you can just see him type of groan, and he starts to tell all of you different things. I'm assuming that Bianca, you would say that you have knowledge in medicine, same as you, Ashima. And
That is correct.
Yeah.
Probably grab Keothi too.
yeah, Keothi for sure as well. The three of you, he sends you out to go grab different things from the forest around you. And Caracilla, he asked you to stay, feeling that magic that you tried to channel earlier and sort of helping guide you into helping him sort of calm Desmond's emotions along with the divine energy that he's pouring in there. And Morwen and Cecily, being the only two that are left, the two of you then would be kind of positioned outside while all of this is happening. And the two of you see that while this is happening, Oriana's ship is still in harbor. It hasn't left yet. And you can see that she was just making her way up and sort of cocks her head at all of you kind of running out, and Cecily and Morwen, the two of you standing out there looking at the skies. And she just sort of narrows her eyes and turns around and heads back to her ship. So, as all of you are trying to help Desmond through this, trying to find the different herbs and medicines, channeling the different magics, and keeping an eye out on the skies, that is where we're going to go ahead and take our break.
What the
Wow.
fuck is happening?
Everything is crazy.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who is this? This is a real Session 37 vibe right here.
That's how Joe's sessions work, is everything gets crazier every session until eventually session 100 happens, and it's just Joe screaming into a microphone for an hour.
It's like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. You will never master my power! Never!
Session 324 is just going to be Cecily charging an attack. The whole 4 hours.
Oh, man. Okay.
We all
right.
watch and comment. She's never channeled that much lightning before.
Do you think she could do it? She has to.
We have to buy enough time for the commercial. Speaking of commercials, I guess it's time for our break.
Yes,
Flashback
exactly.
to like Cecily and Ashima doing something you never saw before.
Okay. All right. So just a reminder for the party members, I'm going to deafen myself, but I'll send you a message when we're going to come back in about 60 seconds. We'll take a 5-minute break. So we'll be back at, let's see, what would that be? 27. Okay. So insert hour, whatever you have, 27. Okay. Me, that's 7:27. Rest of you, it's whatever. All right, 27, 5 minutes. I'll message you all with a minute. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are new here and you have not yet joined the Discord and you like the theory craft about what's going on, you can join the Discord there. Or if you just like to watch more sessions, you're new here and you're like, wow, man, these people yell a lot, but I guess I'm entertained. You can go ahead and hit the follow button, and you can continue to follow the adventures of the Salamander Coast or the other 2 campaigns we have here. So thank you so much for watching. 5-minute break. We'll be right back.
This evening that I can just leave it out here.
And you see him
That is, if I find it.
kind of like side eyes the different animals here, and he's like, no, keep it on you. I'll find you. I don't trust any of these suckers around here.
Okay.
What are you looking at, Carol? Get out of here! You see another raccoon was kind of looking at the two. 0 deaths!
It really is a fine mess for Mimir if you die in Helheim.
0 deaths! You hear that? 0 deaths.
Really. Yeah.
I'm just reloading a save. Forgot I needed something I needed to do.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I am sorry. I will apologize when next we see him.
That's
I-
too late for that, but thanks.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing. You were just protecting your end of the deal. That is all.
Wow, these colors are pretty magical. Do you have colors like this, Mr. Giftman? And like, wave the kaleidoscope near the gift.
He's compelled to answer all questions.
He is compelled to answer all questions. So he would go
Come on, and he'll gonna do that like awkward like hug thing that guys do, where it's like it's hard, and then he'll like slap Nalf in the body. I'm still a man.
Yeah. Now he'll do that clear throat thing and then. Yep.
If you see any yellow flowers or firewood, grab that on the way. No red flowers.
Okay. Sure. who's gonna be quiet as we're traveling, but he's gonna be some of the metal that he took when he left Waterswick. He's gonna be crafting something.
Frendo, I've been back here the whole time, didn't see shit. Shrugs.
I'm sure it's fine. It's probably.
Grok pulls out his revolver and shoots in the sky.
Well, you know what? I think you might have scared him off anyway, so good call on that.
Fucking, I'll show him.
Please do.
Cheeky fucking.
Into each other. As I said, I have a feeling we'll be there presently. Perhaps let's go right for now. And by that, I mean
right.
left.
Wait.
Is left to the sarcophagi?
East. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Ishima's right, but our left.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna... Y'all...
My head. Okay.
Wait, just say east.
Alright, we're gonna go stage right.
West!
We're going west.
Ah, damn it!
Okay.
Right? Is that... Wait, oh shit, do I have it wrong?
That's, yeah, east is, if you're looking at it, like, on the...
Oh. Shite. Maybe don't say, you know, listen, dickhead, this is what I need.
Yeah,
Might not be the best idea.
Yeah. See what I mean? Persuasive.
I wouldn't say persuasive, just, you know, if he's like, do this, you'll say, right, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's very beautiful. I'm glad you can, Twig. Feels good, doesn't it?
You see him kind of getting his armor sorted out as he gets out, and he just, all right, let's see what all this trouble is. And you see him just passively glance and see Ellie on the roof and just, oh, fuck. Oh, it's real.
Oh, fuck, indeed.
And he's kind of absorbed in that, so that has also bought you some time.
Oh, that's just gonna make it so heartbreaking when she finds out she betrayed them on accident. Well, not
So-
Oh gosh.
So, you're telling me this grand, whatever the fuck, wants to meet Emeril, and Sailor cannot remember.
As long as we're talking about it, boats are kind of scary. So that's my expert input. I want to be on land.
I mean to be so forward, but you know, I've often been told I'm the horny one. See what I did there? That's pretty funny, huh?
Yeah. Mhm.
I've been saving that one special for
I am
you.
very proud of you. So you saw that.
Oh, I did.
Okay.
I have larger feet than you.
Desmond looks at his feet, and he feels defeated.
And cut. All right. The sun rises on another day in the fractured peninsula.
Not quite the mood, Joe's. Not quite his tempo.
So, literally.
Now sticky as well.
No. Grot can't be hot, bothered, and sticky because that has a different meaning. And
Whoops.
I can't let that happen on stream. So, I will say that as you are, that's a 4. So that's cool.
Really pretty for.
So she's gonna go ahead and get her Baramichi Saber, but because she went first in initiative, this is gonna be a crit if it hits. Oh my god! What in the fuck is happening?
Those dice are.
Yes, I am. So last we left off, our intrepid group of adventurers.
Boo.
You won't do it, so I had to.
That's in.
Okay. So we just pretend to offer them help.
Well, we'll say, do you want passage? They, you know, they don't realize we know who they are. They're like friendly.
Should we follow the sounds, or should we figure out who the fuck's on the other end of the island first?
I would prefer not to be.
Desmond, I can
No,
make
but
you
I
a
can-
lock that you can try and pick lock or something, just to get your
Sound effects, sound
just to
effects.
get that out of your system.
Like a fucking fidget spinner.
I can give you a fidget locket or something.
Desmond's gonna kind of like look Poe straight in the eye and say, "Well, first of all, yes, please, but second of all, that's not the point."
We're back on, gang.
All right, we are back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Hello.
And we
sorry
back.
about that. My wife went back to school shopping, and she showed me everything. And now that we're both teachers, I'm very interested in school supplies now, and I hate that about myself. But it's just I was like, oh yeah, oh you got those colored pencils for two packs for $1? Wow, that's a really good deal. Oh, look at that cute little sign you got. That's great. No, maybe I'll get that for my classroom.
God. It's like about a month ago, I got new tires on my car, and I'm like, man, you really feel it when you make left-hand turns. I was like, oh, God.
No.
It is, and I hate it.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's just dive back in, right? Are we good? I think I'm good. If you're good.
I got my Pop-Tarts. I'm ready.
Okay.
Bring it on.
All righty. So let's go ahead and dive back in. Picking up where we left off, after a plethora of discovering and revealing conversations, there are a few bullet points we have to go through before we dive back in. For one, Bianca likes to peel apples.
Oh, yeah.
That is the most important thing, and the significance that it has. It allows Cecily to be able to talk without people interrupting her or asking her questions about everything she says, right? Just to be able to word vomit and sort of clarify her thoughts. That's great. Best big sister you could ask for.
Oh.
You also discover that Desmond can beat Ashima in a thumb wrestle. Definitely doesn't have anything to do with size.
But if it did have something to do with the size, Ashima's feet are bigger.
Yes, correct.
Size doesn't matter. Connor, come on.
Well, sometimes it does if it's the feet or the thumbs.
Right.
Oh.
Desmond won off of pure skill.
If it was a toe wrestle.
Desmond doesn't have toes.
Joe, please go on.
Yeah, I was
So
like,
you
cut.
surrender.
Okay, cut. Stop. Okay.
Get him off the stage.
Now, there were two big things that happened in the first half of tonight's session. First things first, the session kicked off with a commune with the Dark One himself. He confronted all of you at the same time. All of you responding in the same ways. All of you one conjoined soul, standing up to this vile, monstrous evil that is attempting to and wants to consume everything. Everything that you've ever loved and ever known. Wants it to be nothing more than soot and ash. All of you stand up to him. You refuse his pleas and bargains. You claim that he's afraid. And he responds that he's not. He responds that he knows your plans. You've done them 1,000 times before, and he will defeat them 1,000 more times if he has to. He knows that all of you are heading to Brahmsgrove, and you should be there within the fortnight. that you'll be attempting to gather the forces of the Children of the Flame and rally them to your side. That they won't be able to help, but Solvis Emeriel, the same person who taught Cecily how to channel her magics more effectively, will be willing to help. But he, just as the rest of you, will fail. He extends his offer one more time, but all of you decline, saying you would rather die than serve him. And should he have it his way, that will be exactly what happens. So, that was the first thing. The second thing was a revelation about Desmond O'Mal, the alley cat.
Wow.
It
I'm
was.
glad that's canon.
Yep. A revelation about Desmond O'Malley, or as he was called by the Dark Ones, Suni the Stalwart, but as he was called by Hrothgar Damodren, Suni the Forsaken, a dragonborn who has existed for 1,000 years, who has been given so many chances by Bahamut to exist and to try again, fighting for his honor and his might. But the last time, Suni fought, not for Bahamut, but against him. Suni fought against a red dragonborn, someone who tried to stop him from destroying this temple to Bahamut, where dragonborn were raised upon their creation to be lawful knights of that order. The same place where Suni studied many, many, many years ago. Well, apparently Suni won as that area, that temple was destroyed. And Suni was no more. And Desmond awoke. Now, Desmond, after learning all this, as I said, seeing all of those existences as that information just unlocks and clicks, you fall unconscious, as all of that information is just too much to comprehend. Understandably so. You faint, and those around you begin to try and care for you. And with that, that's where we're going to pick up. With you, Desmond. You feel yourself weightless. A vessel adrift in a large cosmic ocean. Just floating through space and time. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of small stars floating past you. Colors of red and green and blue floating all around you as you float aimlessly through existence. The tranquility is nice. The peace is nice. You feel at peace. You hear a voice in your left ear. A voice not unlike your own. Maybe a bit older, a bit more gruff. One with much more confidence and poise. Begin to speak to you. So, you finally found it, haven't you? Finally discovered what you really are. So, how do you feel now, knowing the truth?
Not who I am.
You see, that's where you're wrong. It is you. Maybe not you right now. But listen, if I can be honest, a soul indebted, a soul given to those in power isn't always a bad thing. Desmond, that's what you like to call yourself, right?
Yeah.
I remember Desmond. He was a sick man, so have fun living with that. He and I made a deal. You see, Desmond, I know what you want because it's what I want. All we ever wanted was freedom. All we wanted was to do what we wanted, go where we wanted, see what we wanted. And you know what? Bahamut never let us do that. 100 times reincarnated. 100 times our soul was put back into another bronze dragonborn body. Sent off to fight in wars. Sent off to fight for the light. Sent off to fight to protect this small. Sent off to do so many things. Never did we have any say in it. We had to do what he wanted. We got nothing. Until one day. And you cannot see this dragonborn, but you can feel him begin to smile through his maw. One day, we heard it. A voice promising what we always wanted. Do one thing for me, one thing, and you'll have your freedom. You know what? I did it. I did what I needed to do for you. I knew I didn't have any say. I didn't have any freedom. I was indebted to whatever dark master called out to me. But you have a chance. You have freedom. Don't waste what I earned us. Desmond, you can sort of feel, although the voice stops speaking, it continues to linger. Just there. And then in your right ear, you hear another voice. A much softer voice. A woman's voice. With a tone almost like a lullaby, begin to speak. Do not listen to him, my sweet knight. You know who you are. Walk back to the light, and you shall find me, and I will be there for you. You can hear Suni begin to speak. No, you see, that's the trick. Same thing happened to me. I had my offer, I had my freedom. I had my choice. And she told me no. Don't do it. Don't break your oath to me. And I did. Because you know what an oath is, Desmond. An oath is just another promise, another thing forcing you in a direction, another thing taking away your freedom. I'm not going to tell you what to do, because I worked hard so you could have that choice. But if you do, then you lose everything that I fought for. And Desmond, you can feel yourself begin to pick up speed in this endless void. And you can feel a fork in this path, this endless drifting. One leading to light and order, and the other one leading to freedom. The same feeling you've been having, that same feeling of being adrift with no direction. But it is freedom. It's your choice to do what you want. But that drifting feeling is something you felt for a long time. So you can feel that junction coming. And Desmond O'Malley has a choice to make. What does Desmond O'Malley do?
I think maybe at first he kind of closes his eyes and he leans towards physically and towards the freedom, and there's this nagging part of him that's Thune saying that that's what he needs to do, and that's what he's always wanted. But then his eyes will shoot open and he'll start frantically trying to jerking his body anyway, trying to move himself over to the light instead.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So you have a moment where you begin to slide over to that freedom. And you can hear Suni's voice at first in that freedom saying, yes, there you go. Don't mess it up. Do what we all need you to do for freedom. Because Desmond, you know that freedom is what you want, what you need. Be free, Desmond. Be free, Suni. And that causes you to jump, to start. Your eyes shoot open, and you just begin to paddle, to swim, forcing every ounce of your weight, your spirit, your being off into the opposite direction, towards the light and towards order. You fall into the light. You fall into order, to purpose. You feel as though you are falling for a millennia, for an epoch, just endlessly falling through light and flame, through tree, through earth, constantly falling, till eventually you feel yourself stop and softly land in a bed of grass. Surrounding you seems to be different tombstones, trees over a cemetery, and a small chapel covered in ivy and flowers. And you can hear a woman's voice humming. And this is generally what you see. So let me go ahead and see there. Oh, okay, there we go.
Ooh, I like this art.
Yeah, you can see the different leaves sort of falling, the tombstones all around you, and that temple off to the side. And the woman's voice humming from within.
I'm going to slowly start making my way to the temple, but when I pass the gravestones, I want to just take a little peek at them. See if there's like names written on them or.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different tombstones, and most of the names are pretty easy. Most of the etchings are pretty easy to read. But all of them say Sunni. Just there are different monikers or epithets or nicknames underneath. Sunni the lone wolf, Sunni the champion, Sunni the serpent, Sunni the scarred one, Sunni the paragon, Sunni the hog, Sunni the conqueror, Sunni the wild, Sunni the iron fist, Sunni the champion, Sunni the forsaken. And that one you linger on for a little bit longer. But eventually, as you start to open your ears and listen, there is some calm to be had, as you can start to hear the sounds of the forest around you eventually. Birds chirping, streams rushing. And you start to feel at least a little more comfortable. Not exactly, but just a little bit more.
He'll take a deep breath in and turn to look at the temple. Look back at the last grave that he was at for just a second. But then slowly make his way to the temple.
Okay. So, as you make your way into the temple, you see a woman standing by herself, holding a mortar and pestle, different alchemical ingredients and herbs. She just picks some up, sets them in the mortar and pestle, and you can see that they just lift up, where she just kind of like pulls at them, and nature just obeys and moves with her. You can see a cloak of gold with a sash of green settling all the way down to the ground. You can see hair like leaves and trees, vines in braids, skin like soil. You can see that there are some patches that are darker, some patches that are lighter. And you can see a crown of flowers from ear to ear. Flowers that are green and gold. Dahlia flowers. If you happen to know what those are, I'll go ahead and share one. Just so you can get an idea what I'm talking about here. Something like that. Except it
that's
is
really pretty.
Instead of pink, it is that same golden color. And she turns to face you. And you can see these eyes like they are this... They're the color of a waterfall as it's slowly churning at the bottom, surrounded by moss and ivy collecting near the base of that waterfall. And she smiles at you, a soft, motherly smile, and says, "It's good to have you home. It's good to have you back."
Where am I?
Well, you are in my home. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
What just happened to me?
And you can see her eyes kind of droop as this sadness fills her. What happened to you happens to many on their journeys. If I'm being honest, it's even something that happened to me when I was in your position. You lost your way. You grew confused. You listened to the voices that were willing to promise you what you wanted to hear, but not what you needed to hear. And right now, you're experiencing, well, and you can see that she sort of stretches out her finger to one of the vines, and you can see a small caterpillar on that vine. And it crawls onto her finger. She sort of sets it in her hand and closes her hand around the caterpillar. And as soon as she opens her hand, a butterfly flies away. A metamorphosis. You have filled yourself to the brim. And now it's time for Suni or Desmond to make a change. And the question is, Desmond, what do you want?
I want to protect my friends.
That's very valiant of you. Very brave, putting others before yourself. What else?
I don't know. I felt so lost for so long.
We all feel lost in our lives. Many people live their entire lives feeling like pieces of driftwood, floating downstream, hoping that they can wash up on a beach, on a shore, that they can stop floating and feel like they found solid ground. But sadly, many people never do. Many people float aimlessly their entire lives. And when they finally pass on, that feeling is there still. Anguish, sadness, frustration. But you, Desmond, that's not for you. Should you have followed Suni's voice, maybe that would have been you. Anguish and pain, frustration. But no, my child, you've washed upon the shore. You find your feet on solid ground. You find yourselves back in my arms. And she just slowly approaches and hugs you. With her hand placed on the back of your head, you can feel this calming energy enter your mind. And you realize that all of those Sunis before, Suni the Wild, Suni the Hog, Suni the Champion, and even Suni the Forsaken, all of them served her. All of them took an oath to preserve light and joy and good-tilled earth in the world. All of them took an oath to Elowin, the Mother of Mountains.
Desmond will just kind of half collapse into her embrace, just kind of overwhelmed with the kindness and the love and also everything else.
She just laughs, and she kind of looks down at you and says, "You know, back when I was very, very, very young, there was a young woman. She lost her way too. A high elven woman named Delha. We adventured for quite some time, and she was lost and confused. But eventually, as soon as she found solid ground, same as you. She found happiness. She found light. And Desmond, the best thing I can say to you is you already have it. You were just a little too lost to see it." And you can see she kind of waves her hands up near the wall, and the different vines begin to form as flowers begin to bloom all along them, forming different pictures. That of Cecily, Ashima, Bianca, and Poe. Friends you've known for a long time. And those who are still new. But in time, you'll care just as much for them as you have for the others. And on the other side of the wall, moving her hand, flowers blooming, forming Carasilla, Morwinds, and Keothi's face. You are very gifted, Desmond. You are the only Dragonborn that's ever been given this many chances. But now I'm afraid you only have one more to right the wrongs that Sunni committed. But you cannot do it alone. There are many in this world who stand back against the dark. You know of them. You've seen their names. There will come a time when you will stand with them against the coming dark. But before that moment, rediscover who you are. But do it this time with purpose, with light in your life. And never forget that when you need a shoulder to cry on, or a motherly hug, I will always be there for you. And as she embraces you one more time and squeezes very hard, you can feel this sort of life return to you in that room. As in that moment, you feel sort of life and energy return to you, calmness and emotion back in your head. You feel now clarity. And for those of you who have been here, Desmond has been unconscious for about 24 hours. So it's the next morning at this point, just kind of pacing back and forth, waiting for him to come back. But Desmond inhales and exhales, and you can see Hrothgar has just, at that moment, he releases and looks down towards you, as all of the rest of you, I'm assuming, are kind of rushing towards Desmond, hearing the sort of gasp of air.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
Not losing another boy lost in time.
Too many boys lost in time.
Too many.
We need a boy found in time. He knows exactly where he is.
We need a girl lost in time.
There
Don't make
you
it
go.
me though.
The equality.
Let's lost people.
We need to be found.
So, with that, Desmond, you awake. Everybody rushes over towards you. What do you do, Desmond?
Well, he'll, I guess, shoot up from sitting down, and he'll just kind of take a second looking at the ground, and then he'll look up and make his, I guess, eye contact with everybody. And he'll just sit not knowing what to say for a moment. And then he'll say, I found solid ground.
What?
Thank you, Ryan, for saying.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, Desmond. You're gonna need to say at least a few sentences.
I'm happy for you. Am I supposed to be?
I
happy
know.
about that?
I understand exactly what you mean.
Oh, good. Glad you do. Okay.
Like he's only just returned to the land of the living again, so it's probably a good idea to maybe at least give him some rest.
Keothi, where's Keothi? And he's gonna try to get to his feet, and I assume kind of.
It's all right. She'll kind of kneel down next to you. She was trying to give you her space because everybody else was crowded, and she's really big, so she was just trying to stand back a little bit. But she'll move in a little bit. Be like, "What's wrong, Desmond? I'm right here."
I met her. I met
And-
Elowen.
Yeah, she just immediately, as you say that, because all of you now looking towards Desmond. Originally, he had these little beady black eyes, but you can see now that they are the same hue as Keothi's tattoos. And as she makes eye contact with you, this big, doofy grin just encompasses her entire face, and she says, "Oh, Desmond." And she'll just hug you way too hard, just and kind of pick you up, and you can see Desmond's legs are just kind of swinging against Keothi's chest, and she just says, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and she kind of like sets you back down.
No, it's all right. She was incredible, and she was kind and beautiful and loving, and I don't know what I did to turn away from her last time, but I found my way back.
I'm glad you did.
Me too.
And Keothi will just kind of squeeze you and hug you again. And Hrothgar kneels down in front of you. And once again, he just sort of, a lot of shame in his voice, says, "I'm very sorry for what I did before."
Don't. You were right to do what you did to who you thought I was. Who I am. But I promise I'm gonna right that wrong.
I believe you. But Sadly, I don't think you're gonna do it like that. And kind of gestures down to you, and you can see now, you hadn't noticed it before, but like, when he was throwing you around, your clothes got demolished. The blazing of the sword actually burned away part of your armor. And now you're kind of unarmored, and a lot of your supplies are kind of destroyed. You can see your slingshot is cracked in half from the bludgeoning force as it hit the ground. And he says, "Well, we never found Suni there. We did find this. And you can see Hrothgar kind of makes his way back out the back door, back to that storage hut, and comes back in with a chest. And he unhooks it and opens it up in front of you, Desmond. And you can see a set of studded leather armor with a gambeson, all in different hues of green and white. The armor worked and embroidered with vines sort of wrapping around the arms and all over the chest. A cloak of shifting colors that seems to fade away and grow, almost like a chameleon, blending in with its surroundings. Almost kind of hard to look at. And at the very bottom of it are two swords. Two swords of a deep blue steel. Each sword with a moderately sized hook at the end. Your swords. While their names escape you now, you have a good idea that one day the names of the swords might come back to you. You can see them, and in a flash of inspiration, you remember your connection to them. You have a pretty good idea of how to use them. And after all, like I said, you're going to need some new armor. Hrothgar kind of looks to you and says, I kept it all these years hoping that maybe if you ever did come back, you wouldn't be able to find it. But, I guess it wasn't my purpose to keep it to prevent it from you, but it was my purpose to keep it so I could give it to you. There was a man I used to work with, and I used to fight alongside, who would always say, the wheel weaves as the weave wills. And I guess this is what the weave wanted. Wanted you to have these. So here. And it kind of pushes the chest towards you. Says, take them. Looks like you'll need them.
Thank you, friend.
No, not just friend. And it kind of clasps you on the shoulder. He says, brother.
He'll return the shoulder clasp and will repeat, brother.
And Hrothgar will go ahead and stand again and sort of look out to the group of you, the party, and once again say, I'm sorry for my behavior yesterday. I'll be taking time today to reflect on my actions. Please feel free to stay for as long as you like. If I can at least request one more night so I can make it up with... And he kind of looks to you, Cecily, with that raisin bread. I would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but now that you have, that'd be really good.
And he kind of does chuckle and laugh and bows his head. And will make his way out.
Mention of food. Desmond
yeah.
will clutch at his stomach and be like,
"You're starving." Yeah.
That would be really good.
So, but first off, Desmond, has anyone told you that your eyes changed a little bit?
What? No.
Yeah. See, look. Oh, well, I guess you can't, but like everybody else look.
You have gone through a metamorphosis. It's natural for such things to lead to a change in color.
Yeah. Like the Witch of the Woods said. Only you found your purpose before I did, you son of a bitch. Oh well.
A metamorphosis can be a painful thing, Cecily, and I'm sure that Desmond can testify. Furthermore, you'll not want to eat very much too fast.
What's that?
Yeah, Desmond, you can see that there's still stew and eggs and meat that's kind of blazing on the fire pit that you can go ahead and grab.
He will, and he will devour quickly.
So you're feeling better physically and emotionally? Is that what we're gathering here?
Yes. It's a weird feeling to explain, but I don't know, I feel calm. Like I said, I found my way to the solid ground. I'm sorry for all of the pain that I've caused with everything. I'm gonna make everything right, though.
Hey, we've all done some stuff, and I'm just happy that you are finally feeling like you found your way.
Me too. And then he'll keep going at his stew for a second.
You know, Desmond, and you really ought... well, all right. Don't say I did not warn you. The reincarnations that Elwyn is able to produce are markedly different than Loshari ones. In the Tongwu path, upon reincarnation, the key and the energy, good and bad, negative and positive, follows you into the next life. But the way Elwyn, through druidic magics, reincarnates, you have a new body, new skills. There's nothing, perhaps, but a single cell in your body that ties you to the others. So whatever choices you make from now on, I'm sure you know, are yours.
Kind of scary.
It is. But I do recall some time ago, a young dragonborn complaining about not having enough agency in his life. Perhaps 100 years ago.
Wow, great. You guys can talk about being 3,000 together now.
Shima, I'm glad that I found you again.
Likewise, and while I don't have memories of you, as you might. It's good to have remade a friend.
Yeah. And to have made a lot more.
Mm.
I don't think I can be Desmond anymore.
Oh?
If the real Desmond is still out there, and having done all of these horrible things, I think I need to leave that behind.
A butterfly is not referred to as a caterpillar. What would you wish to be called?
I don't know. I think I need to reclaim Suni.
Are you sure? Because it seems like that name is going to get you throat punched.
Well, I think I have to. I have to atone for my own sins.
Well, did Suni go by a last name, or is that something that you can make your own? If you take Suni and reclaim it and then add your own whatever at the end, maybe?
Well, I've not heard anything about a last name, but
Well, Suni and you can see Keothi kind of like grimaces. The Forsaken, maybe it's just an epithet. Suni the, quick? No, that's not very dramatic. Suni the green-eyed? No, that's too descriptive.
I don't think you're allowed to make your own epithet.
Oh, that makes
But
sense.
you are allowed to make your own last name, right? I've never done it. I don't know. I just assumed you would.
Oh, what if... Oh no, that would be odd. Well, do you... Suni, you could always, you know, I'm, and you can see her just kind of like stuttering and sputtering, and eventually she says, I think I've come to peace with the fact that I may be the only Kalukatho Goliath anymore. But you know, I don't think I don't like being the only Kalukatho Goliath, and if I'm the only one, then I guess I can kind of make the rules. Do you want to be Suni Kalukatho?
His eyes widen quite a bit, and he'll nod slightly, and then he'll jump up and run over to Keothi and give her another hug.
Oh! And she'll catch you, and hug back, and kind of clap your back a little bit. Look at that. Hopefully you'll be less annoying than my other brothers and cousins. They were pretty terrible. Well, Suni Kalukatho, welcome to the Goliath family.
It's nice to have a family.
Keothy will just kind of give you another one of those big toothy smiles again and nod. And she'll get a bowl of stew with you and just kind of eat that with you.
There's a lot of family in this group. Like direct.
Well, I mean, you don't have to take the last name, but I mean, I consider all of you very close friends, and what's the difference between very close friends and family? Other than, I don't know. Well, blood for one, but no offense, I don't, want any of your blood. But
Are you sure? I think there's some of mine on the floor still.
There is. Just a small puddle. Oh, no. No, thank you. But if you want family, you don't have to take the last name, but Kalukatho's only a family of 2 right now. I think we can spare some room for more.
I don't know, we're a pretty elite club.
That's right. You'll have to pass a test that is derived by Desmond... Suni, sorry. Old habits die hard. Derived by Suni and myself. So if you think you stand up to the test, then we might let you in.
I'd try it.
Pretty intense.
And Keothy leans over and whispers, not quiet enough, Suni, what's the test?
He'll just give a hearty laugh and give Keothy a pat on the shoulder and say, "Oh, we'll come up with it later."
Okay, later is good.
I can't think too much at this time. My head is still reeling.
She smiles and laughs. And I will say, for what it's worth, go ahead and cut back just a hot second. Morwen and Cecily, the 2 of you were the ones sort of standing watch outside. I'd like both of you to go ahead and make perception checks just over that course of time.
Garbage.
Travel.
You say, garbage?
Yeah, garbage.
Oh, okay. Does garbage have a numeric... Whoa! A numeric value attached, or is it just...
Yeah, it's 5.
Oh my god, that happy sound was so delayed.
I was so loud, too.
They didn't believe it at first.
That would be a 31 in total. Yep. Okay. So, Cecily, as you're watching, you can see that every once in a while, Oriana does sort of poke her head out of the ship or walk onto the dock, maybe just sort of looking out and about on the sea and looking back, seeing the 2 of you still up there. But she never approaches to discuss anything because she can see with all the people sort of running out, you can infer from that distance that it just seems like she's just trying to not be in the way at all. I mean, somebody is kind and considerate and seemingly so, just friendly looking at. I mean, she would never dare to be in the way. She really has a good understanding of people and when it's a good time to be near them and talk to them and when she should probably step away. You have those thoughts and, you start to think, man, I just feel so small. I don't know. Just that thought going through your head until eventually she ducks her head back underneath the ship. And with that is really all else you see. Every once in a while, there's some seagulls that fly down onto the dock. But that's really all you see over the course of those 24 hours.
Does Cecily realize there's something odd about Oriana's like presence and aura, or is she not able to notice that effect?
No, not
Like,
really. It just kind of fades away naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't notice that. Like, it doesn't feel like anything different than you just seeing somebody who has a really good grasp of who they are.
Uh-huh. Right. And I also don't know that the other two thought that, so I guess it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not weird.
I mean, you typically aren't like that down on yourself. That was a little odd to you, but it's probably just because she has so much confidence in herself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. But yeah. So that's kind of the vibe you're getting. Okay. So, with that, we'll go ahead and cut back to where we were. So, with that, you do have the rest of the day there to sort of go back and forth or talk about anything you wanted to talk about in those moments. But Desmond seems to be on the mend, and probably by tomorrow morning, you guys will be able to get back on that ship and continue to head north towards the temple. But it's up to you if you want to talk about anything in the meantime, or what.
Cecily's probably going to try to take a meditation break at some point just to think through all this shit. And then I think I'm going to catch Morwen. So, despite having stood next to her for 24 hours. Cecily is going to wait until now to she had to think about what she wanted to say, you know?
Yeah, you're being in proximity. It forced you to think about it. I get that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
She was worried about Desmond the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. No, it checks out. It checks out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she'd probably be doing something inconsequential, so it'd be easy enough to find her.
Yeah. Just like doing pull-ups on a cloud or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah, you know, whatever. Hey, I have a question. You like jump down. But yeah, Cecily will at some point find you and just, hey, I have a thought that I guess I'm gonna say. You can see her just like, she's confused at her own, like she hardly even understands how to approach anything like that.
Morwen's looking at you and she goes, Are you asking me that, or are you telling me that?
I don't know.
You don't really sound convinced.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, look, it's just, look, a lot happened before you and your sister found us, as I'm sure you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, there was one point where we were in this old ruin, and the odds were the worst they've ever been, and I kind of decided that I wasn't gonna make it. And then I did, and I thought, well, shit. Guess as long as I'm here, I have to stop being awful. And so I'm trying out this new thing where I'm not awful. And I think I just wanted to say that We all know what a nightmare is like. Especially me. So, like, don't feel weird, I guess. We're all kind of fucked up. And she'll just kind of glance at you occasionally, just like you to the floor, just kind of nervously anticipating whatever Morwen's reaction is to that.
Is that all you had to say?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. I will keep that in mind.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to my corner then.
Have fun.
Yeah, it's always a blast.
Hmm.
And she'll kind of just slink back away.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So time continues to pass throughout the day. It's rather uneventful up until maybe about noon, 1 o'clock. And you can see walking back into the tavern is Oriana. She walks in. You can see that she has this very almost concerned look on her face, where she's just kind of looking around at each one of you and makes her way over to Rogar. And you can see the two of them have a short conversation together. She kind of laughs and like pats his hand, and he returns a hearty laugh, and kind of there's some nods shared, and with that, Oriana heads out. She gives all of you a small wave as she passes, and then exits the building.
Bianca will lean to Caracella. What do you think her deal is?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think I'm too worried with whatever it is. I think she's just the right amount of secretive as anyone should be.
Yeah, I'm also not like concerned. I'm just like very curious.
She seems happy enough to stay to her own, I guess.
I guess so, but somehow it feels like she's trying, even though she's not, but like trying to get our attention. But maybe, I don't know. Do you also get that feeling a little bit? It could just be me.
I mean, it's possible. Could always see, I guess, for myself. Caracel's just gonna kind of get up a little bit and she's gonna cast message as soon as she's able to Oriana.
Round 2.
Yeah, round 2. It's not like you're exiled from Tears Tier at all, you know. You can come in here if you want to talk.
She responds, and she says in this very smooth, calm tone, "Well, from what I could tell, it seemed like you all were going through a bit of a situation up there, and I want to give you your time to breathe and relax before obligatory social interactions."
So sometimes after after more tense situations, it can be nice to have just company.
Is that an invitation?
If you want to take it.
Give me 15 minutes.
Spicy. Ooh. Bianca didn't even hear that. That was all Felicity, but
No, Bianca felt the spice.
she felt the spice. Had to comment.
Saw like an eyebrow raise and was like, "Hmm,
What's going on there?
Carousel would kind of like just turn to the rest of the people. Oh, well, I'm not sure if it was going against what anyone else is wanting, but Oriana and I guess her group will be coming back, I suppose. Let me know now if there's anything anyone has against that.
No, I have no problem with that at all. I just hopefully we'll kind of figure out more about them.
Oh, it's a plan, I guess.
All right. So with that, maybe 15, 20 minutes pass. No, you know what? Sorry, I misspoke. 15 minutes pass on the dime.
Doing a makeup.
And entering it is Oriana, and as far as all of you can tell, the entirety of her crew. You can see that Oriana has changed her dress. She was originally wearing, when she came in the first time, that same sort of velvety silk of deep green, now in this deep, almost maroon, purple red. That same sort of velvet trimmed in lace with a sort of a white cloak trimmed with what looks to be some type of red furred animal around sort of the collar of the cloak as she enters. And the rest of their crew sort of sits down, and you can see that they are very hungry. They just all start digging into the food and into the drinks, sort of sitting down at the different tables. And you can tell that they were probably pretty hungry upon getting in there. And Oriana makes her way over to you, Carasilla, and sort of sits down next to you and says, "You can't imagine their delight when I said that we were going back inside. They're a bit tired of bread and whatever watered down rum they have on board."
I don't see why you needed to starve them. I mean, situation or not, you could have always asked. Could have had a little, I guess, delivery system down.
Well, that's actually what I came in to talk to Rogar about. I didn't want to disturb you at all, and from what he said, you'd been having a bit of a rough 24 hours, so, well, one thing led to another, and he was going to bring food out. But then an invitation was presented to me, and I never turned down an invitation to a good time.
Well, I suppose I just knew that it'd be a good idea to break the division.
I couldn't agree more. And with that, she'll kind of stand, head over to the bar with Rogar, and Rogar pours her a tankard of, you can tell that it's this very hot, steamy, red mulled wine. She makes her way back to the table she was sitting at you with, and begins to sip on it. And she'll say, "So, I hope that everything's all right. I saw the commotion and everyone running in and out, and, well, your sister. By the way, you two are an exact likeness of one another."
We are twins. Does tend to happen that way.
Oh, that it does. But I saw your twin and the younger one with the blonde hair standing outside, almost like guards. I thought something was going wrong, so I figured I would stay away for the time being. And, well, I just hope that everything's all right. Presume it is, since everyone here is accounted for, laughing, drinking.
I think it is. Although, I guess the distance was appreciated. I feel like it would have been asked for if you didn't self-impose it.
Exactly. I tend to have a sixth sense about these types of things. Most people want space, and I will never shy away from giving it to them.
There's a few good people that do. But
Exactly.
I'm curious why you've stuck around this whole time. Do you not have places you need to be as well?
Oh, we do. It's just...
Certain thing you're delivering? Give you a little wink.
Ah, memory like a steel trap, I see.
Oh, it wasn't
Yes.
that long ago.
Of course we have something we need to deliver, but we're so close to Albjord now that it's, well, almost within reach, and in all honesty, it has been a long, long, long journey, and, well, they wanted to rest without sailing, without the waves lapping up against the side of the boat. And, well, a warm meal over the course of a couple of nights can go a long ways for morale. Something my father taught me.
Good lesson to learn, I suppose. Well, I find keeping morale up is, well, best way to deal with most things.
Exactly. An unhappy soldier, an unhappy mercenary, an unhappy guard. Well, it's the best way to end up with a dagger against your throat in the middle of the night.
It's not even just betrayal, really. I mean,
No.
people are hardly going to do their best if they're miserable.
Exactly. Hard lesson learned by my father.
Your father also the war type then? Soldiers of his own?
Oh, he was. But sadly, he was one of those lead by fear types, you know? Intimidate the soldiers to obey, and then they'll be so afraid to step out of line that they'll do everything you say. I myself find that a softer touch, and she kind of places her hand on top of your hand, and then slowly drags it away, works a little better.
Mind me asking who your father was?
Oh, my father was a nobody. He had a small fleet of ships that he would take around from island to island, and he would plunder, thinking that he could take anything he wanted. Håkon Arlson was his name.
Not a familiar name, is it?
Make a history check.
Oh, probably not. Yeah, no, that's 7.
7, yeah. Now, I mean, you studied a lot of the different horrific creatures of the Dark One or the local history to Bromsgrove. Nothing of that of the Fractured Peninsula. Like I said, a nobody. And if I'm being entirely honest, I'd like to take whatever small wealth I can amass for myself and retire somewhere where the climate is a little bit more friendly. I've heard wonderful things about Thrall, or even Afera, this time of year.
I feel like retirement is a interesting thing to be debating at your age. You seem so young. Sure, there's much of the world left to see, right?
Oh, genetics have done a great favor for me. Believe me, if I told you how old I was, you wouldn't believe me anyway.
Well, never ask a lady her age.
Exactly. But, in my opinion, it's never too early to start thinking about retiring. I mean, wouldn't you rather sit on a beach the rest of your life, sipping away at frozen fruit drinks with some handsome servant doing anything you want, rather than having to grind away at the same stone day after day after day, not knowing if you'll find your next meal or a dagger in your stomach? Nah. No.
Wants to make it exciting. Wants to just sit back and do nothing, right? It's letting yourself waste away.
Well, I would prefer to let myself waste away than have that much excitement in my life. But
well, then I feel that's where we differ.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. Difference and disagreement, conflict is what makes life worth living. I just would like to view the conflict from a beach view.
Well, I suppose you can get some good naval battles that way.
And you can see her just kind of like do this deflated laugh, like, all right. Very funny, very clever.
Do you have plans to retire then?
Do
Finish
I?
whatever you're doing here?
Sadly, I don't think this will be enough. This is more of a helping out an old friend. You see, there is some nasty business happening in Albjord. And, well, this is something that I need to do for my home. Then after that, I'll find maybe 1 or 2 more jobs, hopefully make a good living, a good profit, and then move on.
Care to ask what kind of jobs those would be?
Well,
What? I hope for only peace in your future.
well, thank you. I
Early
appreciate it.
preview of that beachside view.
Oh, believe me, if I ever retire and I get to that beachside view, you will be one of the first people that get a postcard.
And I would certainly appreciate it, and happily take you up on your offer.
Good. With that, she takes a sip and says, "Oh, that reminds me. Do you mind if I'll be right back? I need to discuss with one of the crew about where we're going after Albjord."
That means, go ahead.
Thank you. And she'll give you a smile and stand and head off to go talk to one of the crew. You can see her kind of sit down at the table where they're sharing and just talking about something. They all sort of greet her when she arrives. And she talks to a man who you could probably assume to be the navigator, or if not, the helmsman.
Just because I'm still a little sus. With the observant feat, can do a little bit of lip reading.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm not gonna listen to the whole conversation. I just want to see, like, you know, that it is just like general trade thing. There's nothing like true secrety.
No, yeah. So the one thing that you do gather is she does talk and say that she received word in Bromsgrove of a particularly valuable totem of ivory, gold, and gems that would be stopping in Port Sahala, and there would be a moment in time where it was being transferred from one ship to another in about a month or two. And if you want to continue to listen, you could get a little bit more details, but you kind of already get an idea of what line of work this Oriana is in, just from that conversation.
And does this totem thing sound like anything that I'm familiar with?
Make a history check.
Better. 21.
21. Okay. So it seems to be something that has a lot more like cultural significance than magical significance. You've heard of ivory totems that have been made in either Odero or Cartasia. Things that are generally just meant as totems of worship to like minor deities or spirits that they would worship there. But for those that would receive lots of tribute in those places, they were given these gems, and then the priests of those gods would sort of take all of the gifts and sort of meld them into one massive totem, thing after thing after thing. And so none of them are magical, and most of those cultures that worship those entities have either been, sort of wiped out by war in the area, or wiped out by just the generally dangerous terrain that Cartasia and Odero, that the entire continent of Calderaz is. So there's really it's not like they're robbing somebody's culture or stealing a powerful magic item. It's just an heirloom of a lost civilization that is worth a lot of money.
Well, she wouldn't really pry that much more into that conversation then.
Yeah, okay. Sure. So she stays over there for a while, and at that point, she'll stay in here, and her crew will stay in here for the rest of the night. If it's had, after about an hour of sitting at that table discussing a few more things, she does make her way back to you, Carasilla, and she does say, "Now, I apologize in advance, but the crew's really enjoying themselves. With the warmth of fire, do you mind if they stay in here for the rest of the night?"
And by my means.
Good.
I don't see a problem. More company the merrier, right?
Right, exactly. Listen, well, thank you. And she'll give you a smile, and she'll just kind of sit down at your table, and for the rest of the night, unless you ask her things, or any of the other party can easily talk to her. It's the tables are very long tables, so it's very easy for you all to just kind of, if you wanted to ask her anything or talk to her at all, you could. But other than that, she's just gonna be here till about, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So it's up to any of you if you want to talk to her. If not, she'll just generally talk about the journey that she's had, any sort of like run-in she's had with different pirates and how they were able to avoid them, sort of skirting around islands, talking about the weather, winter, the upcoming holidays, things like that.
I think Cecily, as usual, is just going to be sus from a distance. And, just keep a bit of an eye and be ready for her to do something not good.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, probably wouldn't engage much beyond that.
Okay. Yeah.
I am curious.
Yeah.
At one point, while she's talking about the pirates, she will kind of lean in and listen to some of those stories. And I presume Captain Darrow is not mentioned in any of them, is he?
No, there isn't specifically a Captain Darrow mentioned, but what she does say is, there was one time when we were up towards the northern islands, closer to Fjordaleth. There was a ship that fired cannons at us at a warning shot, and a man who his voice boomed out. He had this very rough, gruff, very nasty voice, a very nasty man, if you ask me. And he told us to stop our ship, drop anchor, stop rowing, and he might spare our lives. Now, man obviously wasn't very bright, because the ship that he was sailing on, with one of those cannons, probably couldn't go any faster than, well, probably slowed his ship down considerably. With enough rowing and with enough magical aid, easy enough, we were able to outrun him. I wasn't able to get a very good look at him. Older man, gruff, scar across his face, gray hair, very scruffy beard. Which, Ashima, does match the description of one Captain Darrow. The true hero of the Salamander Coast.
The true hero of the Salamander Coast. He'll ease his way through like the tall, gruff pirates and say, so he may lurk these waters still.
Oh, well, probably. Most pirates, once they find a sweet spot, they tend to, well, sap it till it's dry.
And the Atarashi sees being far too dangerous with the war.
Yes. Believe me, there's a lot of money to be made in Atarashi, but sadly, things are just not very profitable over there.
An honest man could make money as a privateer, but a man who has become accustomed to evil ways, that would not do.
No, I've never been a fan of those who steal from merchant ships. It's just a pity, you know. They're just trying to make their living, trying to do what they can. I mean, how many times do you have to steal silks and spices and sell them to somebody who's going to pay you half of what they're worth to realize that you're getting the shit end of the deal?
Well said. Simply alarmed to hear of that ship on the sail.
Do you know him?
I know of his deeds.
Well, that is reason enough to be wary of him then.
Well, you are a good storyteller, and I will take note of this. He'll nod and start to take his leave.
She'll kind of do that, like, hand bow thing where she kind of, like, moves it in a circle a few times and she says,
"Oh, I
"The
love
honor
that.
is mine." All right. Anybody else?
Guys, we're saved. The hero of the Salamander Coast is here.
You'll defeat the Dark One.
He is the one to defeat the Dark One.
What a turn that would be.
All of you die, and then all 13 players roleplay Captain Darrow, just controlling him in a one-on-one duel.
The Dark One, we finally get to his lair. It's like, I've surrounded myself with a impenetrable shield of teenagers and rum, as well as golden guineas. No one can get through this, and I know you won't risk hurting innocent children. And Dara will come in and shoot with a cannon, killing them all.
He'll see a thieves that shoot himself out of a cannon just at the Dark One. Yeah.
And we're all gonna pilot him. Who leaked the script to Pacific Rim 3?
Oh man.
Okay.
Giant.
Anyway.
As the night does go on, though, Carousel will obviously, crank up the gurdy, get some tunes going.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love that phrase.
Crank up the gurdy.
Crank it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta crank it, sorry.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah. Get
So
some
you
bumps going.
crank up the gurdy. I'm gonna have to find a royalty-free hurdy-gurdy track to use whenever you crank up the gurdy. Hell yeah! But you crank up the gurdy, you can see that all of the sailors with you in here, they all start to sort of chant and sing whenever you start to play something that they recognize, something that you might recognize as the girl with green eyes. Is they sing maybe a few different words every verse, or maybe a few different things during the chorus, singing about the one with raven hair. But at the end of the day, it's all the same tones. It's just kind of the words are a little different. Even though you grew up in Bromsgrove, I mean, they're not but a few weeks away, but somehow the song changed as time went on, as space grew between the two. But you sing and you play and you have a merry time. And you can see eventually Oriana, she yawns a few times and eventually makes her way over to you playing the hurdy-gurdy and will kind of place a hand on your shoulder and she says, my dear, I hope you take no offense, but I am just a little tired and I was going to retire for the night. The crew will stay in here until they're probably drunk themselves into a stupor, but, well, I need my beauty sleep after all.
Well, it certainly seems to pay off. It's been a most pleasant of evenings.
Yeah.
And, well, if there's any of your crew have problems getting back to the ship, I'm more than happy to help them.
Oh, you'll have to watch out for Harold. And she kind of points to one of the crew and says, he is a belligerent drunk, so he'd rather throw himself in the fire than have you help him down to the ship. So let him do his own thing, and he'll be down eventually.
Noted.
Fucking Harold.
Classic Harold.
What can you do? What can you do? So with that, she will sort of, wave goodbye to you and then to the rest of you as she's leaving. Till eventually she exits out of the inn and more time passes. So I'd say that was probably around maybe, let's see, probably would have been around like 8 o'clock, maybe. And then around 9:30, 10 o'clock, you can see at this point most of the sailors are pretty drunk. They're rather active and loud, and you can sort of spot out the one who is definitely Harold, who's very belligerent, sort of yelling at people, just like that's about all you get. But eventually they all kind of grab on to each other and begin to help each other out, and they sort of wave goodbye to all of you, very friendly. Eventually they exit. And then all of you are kind of left alone around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Is anybody doing anything before you guys head to bed on this night? Ready to leave tomorrow morning?
I'll take the first watch tonight.
I can take one as well.
Yeah, I'll do one of them. With
watch time.
Whoever.
I'll do one.
Ashima and I will take second.
Okay. So then Ashima and Bianca, and then Cecily and Morwen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all putting me with the Dulskis again.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah!
Character growth.
Best time.
Hey, my daughter wants to talk to you, and just like shove Cecily into the room. God.
All right. So with that, all of you sort of discuss and decide who's going to take the watch, who's going to do what. And you can see Hrothgar is kind of off to the side. He is just kind of like picking up cups every once in a while, sort of picking them up from around the area, setting them into a small bucket, just sort of trying to pick up the trash, clean up the area a little bit, giving all of you a nod and a smile. You can definitely see that he is now more trustworthy towards all of you, obviously so. And just picks everything up, and maybe about another half an hour passes, just about as all of you are getting ready to, sort of take off your weapons and armor, do whatever you would do on your sort of nightly rituals, or just the beginnings of it. You begin to hear what sounds like steel, like steel crunching on steel. Scratching plates of metal, the sound of chainmail jangling
From
And
where?
from the entrance. And you can hear it stop. All of you sort of look to each other and breathe. And then as all of you are sort of looking towards the entrance, you can see Hrothgar kind of looks up at that as well and looks to all of you. And you can see him begin to reach up his hand towards the roof as that fiery sword sort of clings to his hand and begins to ignite and flame. As you just all look towards the entrance, just staring, waiting, sort of readying yourself for whatever may come, Cecily, you get that feeling in your stomach again. That feeling of a storm. But it's not coming from the door. And you look up to the opposite wall, where there are doors for different storage rooms. And as soon as you look up, your stomach retches as you just feel this pain. And in time with that pain, there is this explosion of fire and energy from that opposite wall as wood and shrapnel and stone just comes flying towards all of you as these men in black armor begin to march in through, flanked by two women with these like pale white skin, lips of deep black, silvery hair as they wear this deep black clothing that drapes all the way down to the ground, magic clinging to their hands. These men in black plate armor draw their swords, brandish their shields, and all of you ready yourselves, drawing your weapons, ready to charge at them. But sadly, that is where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session.
The eyes here.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. This session.
Joe, how could you?
Wow.
We're playing tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
So just so you guys can get an idea of what everything looks like right now, I'm gonna go ahead and move you to the to the map here. So they marched in, and there are two approaching from the entrance. So let me go ahead and pull everybody to the scene battle map. So that is kind of what you're looking at right now. Where there are two coming from the entrance, but then there are 5 marching towards you with 2 spellcasters behind them. And I will say that it is also worth noting that as soon as that explosion happens, you can hear what sounds like yells and groans of different men, the same men's voices that you heard in the tavern, and a woman's scream. And Carasilla, you had enough conversations with her tonight to know that that's Oriana's voice screaming. So, yeah, that's where we're going to go ahead and end things. So, on that note, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I hope you had fun. I sure did myself. Man, my beard looks really funny. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you are new here and you would like to talk about the session outside of a Discord or outside of a Twitch chat, join the Roll with Advantage Discord server. We got a lot going on there. We like to talk about a lot of things and just generally kind of shitpost some D&D memes. So please come join us. Yeah. We'd love to have you there. Yeah, be our friend. Also, just as a thank you again to those people who do wonderful art for the streams. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Artists. There we go. Whether that be Lisa or Gemma, those two working on just different miscellaneous artists. Actually, River, the shipping manager of Roll with Advantage, the person who kind of creates all of the romantic fan art. And then Gemma, who I can proudly say is the official artist of Roll with Advantage. Woo! Woo! And then
it's an honor.
And then Andy Romanchek, who did all of the character PC artworks. Please check out all of their Instagrams. They're all very talented. They all deserve all the love and praise that they're going to get. So thank you all so much for watching, and tune in on Saturday to see the conclusion to the month 3 of downtime of the Isles of Iverion. Let's see what happens. Let's hope nobody dies. Hopefully
If we
it's not
get to the end
Twigger
of
Eurydice. Shadow, Blade in the Shadow, something like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Or tune in next Tuesday to the Salamander Coast, or next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday for the Explorers of Afera to see them face down with Captain Colliard. Maybe after some Doom music starts to play and they need to squash an entire Undercity. But we'll see what happens then. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope that you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you. And that's where we're ending it. Farewell!
Next time. See you.